Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the cheapest team possible for the Open Great League. I mean, not really possible, as you can also use the normal variant of Golbert. I just have the Shadow variant of this one. You can use the normal one though. I had a lot of people actually ask me for this one, so today we're going to take a look at this team, and you can actually upgrade this team fairly easy if you get like different new Pokemon or whatever. This is just a very standard team, and in general, kinda Golbert is really underrated in the current meta. There are a lot of Pokemon there fairly weak against it, but today we're going to take a look at the cheapest team. All of those Pokemon don't need a legacy move, all of those Pokemon need only 10k for the secondary charge move, so this is why we went for them. All of them are non-exile as well. Greedent here is our safe swap, our Wishcast is in the back, and in the lead we're going to have the Golbert. The cool thing about Golbert is the hardest answer to any kind of grass type Pokemon. And of course we're going to have the Wishcast in the back, or any other Mud Boy where we have like the first upgrade that you can go for example a Swampert, or even also something like a Quagsire would work out fairly well. But yeah, this Pokemon has only one weakness, which is grass. You have a double resistance in the lead with Golbert, so this core itself is really smart and does work out super well, especially as like Golbert is weak against those steel type Pokemon, those rock type Pokemon like a Bastion, and Wishcast is really good in dealing with them. Again, if you want to upgrade them, Swampert or the Quagsire would be possible. And then as a safe swap we have the Greedent. You could also use maybe something like the what's called the Dubwool, or like the Vigoroth, or if you have like the XL Canifort, also the Lickitung. Lickitung would be the best upgrade most likely for this one. I would actually stay with the lead. Honestly, Golbert is really underrated right now, and I think Golbert is a great Pokemon to use. So yeah, let's take a look at some games here today. We're gonna take a look at what Golbert can do, and here we were able to call the Aerial Ace, which was exactly what we need to just barely survive this Snarl from the opponent with 1 HP, winning us his first game. So let's take a look at the next opponent. We're gonna have Golbert against Gligar in the lead. This is not really an ideal lead. You can actually win this theoretically, I think, because you win CMP against him, but you kind of have to bait for that. So I decided to swap out immediately to Greedent, where we're going to encounter our first issue, where basically maybe swapping the backline would help out a little bit, especially the Wishcast in the back. Wishcast needs to hit a Blizzard in order to hit the Gligar, which, for example, if you're going to have the Swampert, you don't have the issue with it. And most likely, the Quagsire are going to have, of course, the Community Day next month, so definitely gonna get, definitely not, but most likely gonna get some kind of water type coverage for the Quagsire as well next month, which is going to be interesting. But here we're gonna take a look as well in what Wishcast can do here, because you're going to align against a Registeel, which is exactly where you kind of want to have it. Wishcast is a fairly bulky Pokemon as well, super cheap to get, super easy to build, and we can now get rid of the Registeel. But of course, now if they're gonna go back into their Gligar, we're going to be forced to go for the Blizzard, but they decide to go to their Lickitung, which is fine for me. This is a cool thing, by the way, about Greedent. Greedent is super underrated in the Great League. Really strong Pokemon in the Great League. Here, great catch by the opponent, because you can just destroy Lickitung with it. You're going to have a great time against most other Pokemon as well. Here we're going to use no shield, because actually I think Body Slam does a little bit more than what the opponent is going to do here. I can still go for a charge move to force the opponent to use a shield, which is really nice for me, because now I'm going to use a shield as well, but I can just farm them down, and I can get the debuffs onto the opponent's Lickitung, which is going to be amazing for me, as I'm going to use another shield here. I might even be able to get to another one afterwards. I'm not sure about it, but I will be able to just get to this Poison Fang, which is going to allow us to do more damage with our Pokemon afterwards, getting them into one Body Slam range. They're going to go for the charge move, that's fine for me. But as you're going to see, we are going to have no energy here on my Greedent, but I still will be able to survive a Body Slam from the opponent. Greedent also has fairly decent bulk, so this team in general works out super well, like in how it's kind of built, but again, you can upgrade it on different positions. Honestly though, I feel like Golbert is kinda underrated and definitely works out well. Lickitung would give you a little bit better coverage against Medicham though, which can be a little bit of a struggle with this team. Here we're gonna encounter it in the lead, which is kinda nice. They decide to swap into the Gligar. If you had something like a Swampert in the back, I would have swapped out into this one here, because we don't have that. We kind of have to stay in, which is kind of awkward, and get the shield advantage. I could go for the bait here, but it was a little bit too risky for me, and now I can decide to go into my Greedent. 2 Body Slams should be enough from this range, which might be decent for me, but again, our lead got kind of lower than I wanted to have, and if you have, for example, the Lickitung as a safe swap, you're going to be better off. If you're going to have the Swampert in the back, you're going to be better off. But this is just a great starter team. If you want to try to get some wins in the Go Battle League while not using too much Stardust, this is definitely something that you can run. And it's very up to date in terms of kind of how this team kind of functions. Here we're gonna see the Medicham. They're gonna get some extra energy from the Greedent, which is exactly what I didn't want to have. But we can use a shield here and we kind of wiggle them down there with our fast move already. So there might be even a Mud Bomb range or later on. They're gonna go for another Ice Punch as we are gonna be able to go for the Poison Fang in order to try to knock them out here. But of course they're going to still have some Pokemon in the back, which can be a little bit awkward because they can actually clear the debuff here. And that's going to be the bad thing for me. I'm going to be forced to swap out now. I have to hit a Blizzard there. The opponents decide to clear the debuff immediately, and now it just depends if I can hit the Blizzard or not. So what we're going to see here is a Dark Pulse coming through, going to do some decent damage. They're going to outspeed me a little bit. I'm going to go for the bait here. This is risky, and it didn't pay off. I should have just went straight for the Blizzard, I guess. This time around, I'm gonna go for the Mud Bomb. Do they call it here again? Let's take a look at this one. They do not call it. Now I can try to go for the Blizzard, which hopefully going to work out pretty well here. Let's see. Dark Pulse coming through. I'm going to swap out because they have another move stored. This is going to be amazing. So now we definitely got to hit this Blizzard against the opponent. Let's see. Is this enough to knock out the Mandibuzz? Super effective, high-hitting nuke, and it is not. And the opponent is just barely able to reach another charge move, which is so unfortunate, man. Like, literally played this perfect and still wasn't able to succeed here. But maybe we're gonna get actually the Shadow Wishcast eventually. Like, it's at least supposed to come out at the end of the month for the Team Go Rocket update, or like Team Go Rocket event, which is going to be nice. Also there you're going to definitely be able to get rid of frustration, which is nice. But here we were seeing the War Ring coming in. We were able to get a debuff onto them and still outspeed them with the Body Slam, which was enough for the opponent to forfeit. They didn't get a single move off there. Just the spamminess of this team is also insane. Like, the longest time it takes you to get to a charge move is actually on Golbat to get to the Poison Fang, which is 5 fast moves, which is 10 turns. You're gonna get after 8 turns to a Body Slam, and you're gonna get to, I think, 5 first and then 8 for the first 5 and then 4 for the Mud Bomb on the Wishcast, which is really nice. So this is the spammiest team plus the cheapest team at the same time, which is just so amazing. Here we're gonna see the matchup against the Sableye. It's actually fairly important to get the debuffs here on Greedent, which is kind of sad, but Greedent definitely likes some debuffs onto them. But sadly, we were not able to undercharge enough that we can get some farm down, so the opponent gets some extra energy onto their Medicham, which is actually really bad because now, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to let this move go through. The opponent decides to swap out into the Lantern. I go for one charge move here, which is hopefully going to allow us to knock them out with just one Mud Bomb. This is why I went for the Poison Fang. Maybe was a mistake though. I was hoping that this would knock them out now. It does not, but it at least going to put the opponent into a range where I can farm them all the way down just with my Mud Shot here, which is amazing. They're still going to get to another charge move most likely. No, they don't even get there, and now I can just go for the Mud Bomb spam. Maybe this was the play to go. We will find out shortly, as we can now go for the Mud Bomb spam against the opponent. And I think as long as I'm going to keep my shield, I can just farm them down with my Golbat. And let's take a look what we're going to do here. We even get to another Mud Bomb. This is going to be amazing, as the opponent is forced to throw eventually. I decide to swap out, just trying to get as much fast move damage in there and surprise the opponent with it, which works out super well because now we were able to get in 2 fast moves from our Golbat. The Wing Attack, we're able to whittle them down, and I can just Mud Shot them down with my Wishcast, which is all it takes, and we can move on to the next game. Lantern in the lead, horrible lead for us. We swap out into a Greedent. This is a very decent matchup for us, as we're going to see the Superior coming in. I will be able to go for the Body Slam spam, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. I'm mostly going to be, I actually have to hit, I think 4 here, which is really awkward. So 2 Body Slams in, we are only at half health. The opponent going to do so much more damage with their Frenzy Plant now, as you're going to not see because I decided to use a shield here. I will still get to another Body Slam, which is going to get the opponent fairly low. Maybe low enough that I can Mud Shot them down. I'm not sure about it, but we will find out shortly, as I can still go for another Body Slam against the opponent. Do they want to shield this move up? Do they want to let this move go through? They're going to let this move go through, allowing me to realign and allowing me to align the Medicham against my Golbat, which is exactly what I want to see. So at this point, I'm going to use a shield here, which maybe was not the right play because it was a guaranteed Ice Punch. So this was a little bit awkward. I can still go for Poison Fangs. Definitely should have not shielded this move. That was really bad for me. But I can still go for 2 Poison Fangs here, which is going to get the opponent hopefully low. They're going to let this move go through even. And now they're going to swap out immediately afterwards. They still have a shield advantage, but here the Psychic comes back in. And it's going to be a Lantern now against Wishcast. Wishcast, of course, being a ground type, going to be very good for the fast move of the opponent, going to be resisting those, as well as doing super effective stab damage from Mud Bomb, which got recently buffed as well. We're gonna get to see the shield coming up from the opponent. And what we're also going to see here is the Surf coming through, which is still gonna do some hefty chunk against us. We still have to go for 2 charge moves against the opponent though, which is most likely too much really to ask for, as we're going to still get to another Mud Bomb here, but I think the Medicham has just too much still in it. Let's take a look. Can we still get to the Mud Bomb? We can still win this game with our Wish Case in the back. The spamminess of this Pokemon is just absolutely wild, and we can move on into the next game. We're going to have here the opponent's Sandslash then lead, which you're going to have to swap out again. Again, horrible lead for me, but actually our Greedent is going to be able to win this matchup, as well as our Pokemon in the back going to be also able to win this matchup against the opponent's Sandslash, as they're going to be forced to swap out now into a Charizard. This is totally fine for me. I can go for the Body Slam spam. This is going to do some very decent damage against the opponent. And as we're going to see here, the Body Slam comes through again. Gonna put them into nearly range, at least for the Wing Attack down, but they decide to rather shield this move up. And if they go for a Dragon Claw, I would have still been able to survive that. They didn't, and so I'm forced to use a shield. I'm forced to use another shield, as this is going to be another Blast Bomb, but that should be kinda out of energy, so I can overfarm by just 1. I can still go for the Poison Fang. That's gonna get the knockout, and we will see what's coming in next here. It's going to be the opponent's Sandslash again. I can swap into my Wish Case and hope that I can take this move, hope that they're going to have something in the back that I can deal with, but it's going to be a tough one because it's actually going to be the Sableye. I have to go for the Mud Bomb spam here, basically. Getting the first move off, getting them fairly low. I can go for another charge move immediately afterwards. And as we're going to see here, the opponent is going to be in the red health, but my best play is just to let this move go through. Like, it's basically actually my only play, because I have to still try to farm them down with my Golbat, but sadly the opponent gets to a move in time. I'm forced to let this move go through. I can still try to go for the Poison Fang spam, but honestly, I get the shield here, but I don't even get to another one. So this is kind of unfortunate. Of course, horrible lead for me again, like in nearly every game so far. This is going to be a neutral lead for me, at least. That's going to be okay for me. It's not great, though. It's definitely not great, as the opponent's still going to outspeed me in the long run. The first move we're going to get at the same time, but the second move, they're going to get one fast move earlier, so that's kind of awkward. I'm going to use a shield here, just in case it's a Hurricane, but they decide to go for the Weather Ball. And I'm going to let this next move go through, because I know it's a Weather Ball, so either I can realign in the lead here, or I get a shield. I'm most likely going to get the realignment here, and exactly that's what's going to happen. I'm going to have to swap out immediately, as we're going to get out the Medicham. We only have 1 shield left, but we're going to align at least our ground type later on against the opponent's Lantern, as well as we're going to do a hefty amount of damage actually with our Greedent here, which you might not expect, but Greedent is still a fairly decent answer for the Medicham. Just being able to get those body slams off so fast, gonna put them already into range, where I might even be able to farm down with my Golbat. We're gonna get the shield from the opponent, which is kind of awkward because I need to get rid of the opponent's Medicham. So I'm forced to use a shield here onto the opponent's Power Punch, which is really bad for me as I decide to swap out. This is amazing, exactly what I want to see. We're gonna get the Surf onto our Wish Case, but we can at least go for the Mud Bomb spam here. We're gonna outspeed the opponent easily. Our charge move takes the exact same amount of time as their charge move Surf, but we're gonna generate energy a little bit faster than the opponent, especially after the recent Spark Energy nerf. So we're gonna get to another charge move here. This is going to be able to get the shield from the opponent. I still reach another one in time, getting the knockout against them. And I can now hopefully swap out afterwards into my Golbat, go for the Poison Fang, and this is all it takes to knock out the opponent's Medicham. So this was a great game again, as we can now move on into the next game. Second to last game for today's video. Of course, if you haven't subscribed already, I would appreciate if you would do that, because this is always free, and of course it would help me out quite a bit. Next opponent, we're going to have a lead against a Dragonair. This is not really okay, but we're going to be able to still go for the Body Slam, as the opponent gonna go for their Body Slam as well. I thought it was a CMP type, but apparently it wasn't, and now we're gonna have Bastion against the Greedent, and this is where Greedent comes in clutch. We're not even going to be lucky and getting the Crunch debuff early. We are not gonna get anything here, because Crunch would be able, of course, to debuff them. Here, actually, we're gonna get it on the second one. That's actually really nice for me, but we have now Mud Shot as a fast move, a double super effective instead of neutral like Bullet Seed prior. So in this case, we can even still get for another Crunch here, which is going to get the opponent low enough to still realign the Pokemon against the Bastion. We were able to realign our Pokemon, which is absolutely wild, as I can use another shield against the Dragonair. The awkward here comes through, and in comes the Medicham, allowing me to go for the Poison Fang, and of course, I'm just going to try to get them as low as possible, especially as I let the move go through. I'm going to use a shield here. I'm just going to try to get the opponent's defense so low that I can just farm them down, even with my Wish Cast later on. But as you're going to see here, I'm going to try to save my... Oh, no, actually, never mind. I'm just going to sacrifice it immediately because it doesn't matter. The opponent just lost the health so fast onto their Medicham. It is absolutely wild, and our Wish Cast can just farm them down with a mud shot. Going to the final game of today's video, we're going to have the Golbat against the Diggersby. This is a little bit of an awkward one. You can stay in here, but they're running Quick Attack, which is not ideal for me either. And I decided to swap out onto the charge move into my Greedent. This is going to be most likely a Fire Punch, because why would they go for Scorching Sand against me? But I will be able to now take the Scorching Sand from the opponent while still going for the Body Slam spam, but the opponent decides to swap into their Ninetales. This is actually okay for me. I can go for the Body Slam spam, and as we can see here, I need 3 of them in order to get the shield from the opponent or the realignment, and I still should be able to survive one more charm. All it takes for me to get to another move, which is amazing, but I didn't count the charms here, which kinda hurts me a little bit, because I think I would have won 1 CMP with my Golbat. I'm not sure about it though, but I will now be able to farm them all the way down. But I'm still at 100 energy and I'm not in the best spot, so I'm deciding to swap out most likely immediately here as I see the Wish Cast coming in, but now in comes also the Grand Ball. I'm going to be forced to go for the Mud Bomb here. This is gonna be able to get the opponent fairly low. I can go for another one here. They're most likely going to use a shield now, which they do. And now it comes down to if Golbat, with only resisted charge moves, can still beat the Diggersby, which runs a Quick Attack plus the Fire Punch, which is a little bit awkward. So as you're going to see here, Poison Fang comes through. I'm going to go straight for the Poison Fang. There's no reason for me not to do this. This is my best move to go for, as well as I need the debuff as soon as possible. We have less HP than the opponent, but also the opponent already got to a charge move, as you're going to see here. This was a CMP tie, so it's going to be such a close matchup. And it's going to be the Scorching Sands doing even more damage than I expected, allowing me to still get to another move, but I should have went for 1 extra fast move because they survive with exactly 1 HP, and we're gonna get a draw at the end. So, this was actually a very fun team to play. I would really recommend you to try it out if you just want to start into PvP, and also just like the recommended upgrades would be really nice for this team as well, so definitely try this one out if you can, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.